My dad was the life of the party. You just had a really good time with him.
Very jovial, very Irish. He was always happy. I just always remember him being happy.
Larry was just always fun to be around. Never a dull moment.
My Uncle Larry was kind beyond measure. He really didn't have a negative word for anyone.
He grew up in North County. He was born and raised Catholic. You know, they, like I said, Catholic high school, everything, went through all that. But he kept us in that, you know, to make sure that we went every Sunday when we were with him.
My dad and my mom got married very young. They actually went to Arkansas and got married. And because my mom's dad was a St. Louis City police officer, and he wasn't gonna let her get married before she was 18. So of course they went to Arkansas. They didn't tell anybody for 2 weeks. And then they finally broke down and she told her dad. And then I guess my dad told his parents. So they had me when they were very young. My grandpa Joe worked for the railroad. So as far as getting a bug to be a police officer, I don't know exactly how that came about. Maybe my Uncle Tom, because my dad was actually a mail carrier.
My dad, Tom Mounier, my uncle's brother-in-law, was instrumental in helping and encouraging my uncle to be a police officer. I remember when he became a detective because he was very proud. His passion was the police department with St. Louis County.
Larry was an excellent partner. We worked extremely well together. We had a lot of similar friends and acquaintances. We both had a drive to resolve any investigation that we were in and capture the bad guys and get them sent off to jail. And Larry was probably the easiest detective that I ever worked with. He was outgoing, friendly, and very knowledgeable. He had that same effect on the bad guys, what later would maybe become informants, and that was the big key to being able to resolve many of these investigations.
My sister, Kelly, the baby, we lived in this house and we had one of those galvanized pools out in the backyard on the other side of the fence. And my mom was in the kitchen and she looked out the window and all I remember her doing was screaming Larry. And my dad just ran out. He was in his boxers and a t-shirt and he ran out, and I've never seen anybody scale a fence as fast as he did to get her out of the pool because she was floating and she had drowned. I remember my mom just freaking out when the paramedics and everything got there. There was talk of my dad being a police officer and what he had done to get her to start breathing and stuff. Fortunately, she was fine.
There was another time that he had taken us to Frontier Park in St. Charles, and this gentleman was having a heart attack, and I just remember my dad running, helping and doing all that until, they got the man taken to the hospital. So that was one of my good memories as far as feeling like, the hero aspect of it all and to save the day. And he was right there to help if something needed to be helped with.
I know my mom and dad got divorced when I was 8, but we had every other weekend with them. Whether we went to my aunt's house or he took us down to St. Charles or took us to a park or whatever, he always did something. He made sure that the focus was on us.
I know the job kept him busy all the time, but when we went with him, we were with him. It was always family visiting, cousins and just hanging out with everyone.
We would occasionally get together other than work. Our personalities were a lot the same. I was more of a fanatic on bass fishing. The Bass Club with the police department would have tournaments. He wasn't really much into the bass fishing as much as he was just the camaraderie with the team.
He loved the Cardinals, Willie McGee, all of that. He had that in common with my grandma. They could talk about that a lot.
When my stepmom was alive, they used to have friends like out at the river lot alongside the Missouri River because he had a pontoon boat. And they used to take my boys, on the pontoon boat and stuff when we go up there on weekends or Father's Day or whatever.
They continued to travel when my parents didn't have small kids anymore. They still went to Las Vegas together and Tunica and all those kind of places.
He knew everybody. They went to Hawaii for my stepmom's 40th birthday. And when they were coming back, he was talking to somebody on the plane. My stepmom's like, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "Oh, I know him from somewhere." He knew, it didn't matter where you went. He would know somebody. It was crazy. He could start a conversation with anybody. It didn't matter, like making people feel at ease. It was so nice.
He was fun. He had some quirky parts. He loved peanut butter. He wouldn't go to bed at night without a scoop of peanut butter. My aunt doted on him. She took care of him. She would wash his hair if he wanted his hair. I would say he's probably very spoiled, but he was also very kind.
My dad's middle name was Joseph. My dad's name was Joe. He thought that was like the top of the world when I named my son Brian Joseph. I picked Joseph for my dad and my grandpa's, and he just thought that was amazing that I did that.
I just recently had his first granddaughter, but we had got to go see him. So it was like the week before he had passed, we got to see him. So that was pretty special that we had that last time with him before that happened.
He was working vice prostitutes and apparently had a heart condition, and whatever was going on in the room when he was trying to make the arrest of the prostitute, he ended up having a heart attack and passing away.
I mean, they took him to the hospital, but they could never revive him. From what I understood, it was massive. I mean, so.
I just remember feeling sorry for my grandma because she lost her son.
My Uncle Larry was the baby to my grandma, and to see someone that age lose her son was unbelievable.
Couldn't have been more proud of the honor they showed him, you know, through the whole, you know, process of the funeral and everything. It was just heartwarming, and just it made the passing easier to bear.
I had a really hard time, you know, at the funeral. I don't remember a lot. What I do remember was being in the car, going from the church. They had him stopped at every corner. They were saluting on the way, and how long it was. And it's just one of those things that you just feel very honored for him.
Backstoppers and everything they did, I know for my stepmom, was phenomenal. And what they showed during the services, everything, you know, was just, it was amazing.
She was forever grateful that her life, even though it was sad without my uncle, she still had a life, and that was amazing. That she still got to have the life that my uncle would have wanted for her.
Once you lose a parent, it just seems to me that you feel like an orphan sometimes, because it's like you don't have anybody to go to that can, I don't know, make things okay.
That was how working with Larry was. He made me a better person. Always had high regards for Larry. Miss him.